All right, there we go. Okay, John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers here, and this is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. I'm so excited that you are here with us. This is a wonderful day. Topic of today's short talk is who is the very first employee that you should hire? I'm going to assume that you have not yet started your business or you are looking to start a business, perhaps a second or third business. It might even be a side hustle. And you're thinking, what I need to do to get going is I need people to help me, and therefore I need to hire someone. And that's a very important question, an important idea, and that is the topic we shall go after today. Now, I'm going to start with a controversial idea, and that is you need to be the very first employee. Now, I need to back up for a moment. Again, if you're starting a business or if you're leaving a job or you're doing something on the side, it really doesn't matter. You're beginning from nothing. You're beginning from scratch. For those about to rock, I salute you, as they say. AC/DC, thank you very much. Okay, but if you are starting from scratch, from zero, the very first person that you should hire is yourself. And this also lines up with one of our philosophies, and that is paying yourself first, making sure that you are creating value, obviously, and that for creating that value and putting that value into the world, you deserve to be compensated and compensated first. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean profit. Obviously, you have some expenses that you must pay that are urgent and essential. Otherwise, the business goes kaboom, goes poof. But in terms of the revenue after the essentials, and definitely the first dollar of profit, it should be all yours. Now, line that up with you being the very first employee. Do not try to bring someone into the business before you yourself are making some money. If you don't do this, you will always be behind the eight ball. You'll always be in trouble, always struggling in some way or another. More important than that, even if none of that is true, which it is, even if none of that is true, you have to realize that you'll always be paying that first employee first if it's not you. You'll be like, I have payroll. I have to pay for that person. They have priority over you. Does that make sense? It does not make sense to us. We don't believe in that. You should be getting paid first. You should be getting profits first. And in fact, you might even go radical and extreme on this. And you might say, no one's getting any money before me. I get the first 10%, the first 20%, the first 1%, 2%, 5%, 3%. Pick some number and you're going to get some of that cash right up front. You can have that automatically set up. You can have it done in batch. You can have it done, once a day, once a week, once a month. But you want that money moving from the business and from the business account over to your personal account. You should also have a business account at some point in the future and a personal account. The reason I say that is that it's really for tax purposes and accounting. You do not want to, as they say in Ghostbusters, you don't want to cross the streams. Very dangerous things can happen. So at some point in time, and really as soon as you possibly can, when it makes some sense, when the money starts coming in, you definitely want to have a personal checking account and you want to have a business checking account or separate accounts. Again, for the sake of keeping your books, the accounting separate, that will save you a lot of pain in the future. You heard it here first. Okay, so we're going to walk through a quick 3-step process for thinking about this now that I've given you the message loud and clear to hire yourself first. Okay, that's the big bang. All right, so when you hire yourself first, you'll want to write a job description for the CEO. So you're basically describing what it is that is the highest value, the highest, best use of your time, the greatest value that you can provide as the CEO. Now, the CEO, that's the chief executive officer. You're the chief, you're the big chief. You're the executive. You're the one who executes. Executive, execute, same root, right? You are executing on a plan. And you're an officer because you are a leader. You are leading yourself to execute. You're the big dog. And so you need to write up your job description with respect to the plan that you've formulated. Now, have you written down your plan yet? I advise you to do so. It can be on a single sheet of paper. It can be one mission statement. It can be 5 bullets. It could be an entire story that you write out, your future vision. You can talk about what you dream about. You can have a vision board. You notice I gave you 4 or 5 different versions of your business plan. Perfectly reasonable, perfectly acceptable. It does not matter, but you have to have some kind of plan for the CEO to be working against, and then you're able to write your own job description. If you need help with either one of these things, I've got 2 recommendations. Number 1, down in the description below, we have a lot of information specifically about artificial intelligence, about AI, but also other techniques to help grow your business. I strongly encourage you to take a look at the description and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That's advice piece number 1. Advice piece number 2 is that you can use tools such as ChatGPT and just fire away, have a conversation back and forth with ChatGPT. Hint, hint, we have some training on this channel that talks about setting up your own AI mastermind. Your mastermind should be able to help you tremendously with your business plan and also with what you want to get out of this very first employee. Again, you, and what that means in terms of the description that you need to write up for that job. Are we clear? I certainly hope so. Now, the other thing is that if you're studying from scratch, you need to be thinking about the number one thing. Okay, the number one thing is making your first dollar. You're executing by creating value according to a plan, and the CEO, you, the job, you need to get to that first dollar. The way that you get to your first dollar, almost always, not always, of course, but almost always, it is going to be a matter of, again, the first dollar is going to be a matter of creating the very first customer. Now, that's kind of a weird way to think about it, but I want you to sort of take a step back and go, wait a minute, that's right. The business formally and officially begins not with a plan, not with a job description, not with the hiring of the CEO. It begins when you have created your very first customer. So that means you've created a product, you've launched it somehow, you've grabbed some money. But the way that you've done that is because you have a business plan that's very simple, very straightforward, and you have an employee who's executing. The CEO, you. It's getting done. The job is getting done. The product's created. It's been launched. You've been able to get your very first dollar online. Now, it might be you might need to do 4 or 5 free product launches. You might need to help some people and make no money. You don't really have a business until the money comes in. Others would disagree with me. I don't care. I say you don't have a business until you get that first dollar. If you disagree, put a comment below and tell me that I'm full of it and tell me exactly why. But that's the idea, right? Is that you've got a business plan, you've got an employee, you, the CEO, and you also have products and you've launched. Again, we can help you with that. Take a look at the channel. You'll find tons there. But the key here is that you've got that first dollar after all of that. So the employee that is working so hard for freedom and for justice, of course, all of that, it's tied to making that first dollar, and then you have traction. When you make that first dollar, you have traction. So your first employee gives you traction by making that first dollar online. It's a profound concept. When you put your mind to this the right way, everything falls into place. Every business ultimately is going to begin in some fashion like this. Okay, now here's a couple more pieces of advice. I said there's 3 steps. Second step, importantly, is you can set up your CEO's daily routine, the KPIs as well, the key performance indicators. You can say, this is what makes a great CEO, this is what they should be doing. This is what I, therefore, should be doing. So you can begin to measure yourself. And also, and this is also on the channel, you can document what you're doing, create a process, and now you have a business structure that you can execute against. Now, again, that's on the channel and other places. We have videos on that, making your first dollar online and so forth. But just kind of put that together and say, okay, what's my daily routine? How do I measure success? How do I know I'm doing the right thing? Well, if you have the plan and you have the job description, then you actually know what you should be measuring against the plan and measuring against what you hired the CEO for, and then making that first dollar. And are you making progress or not? And what matters here at the beginning is you are deciding what the metrics, what the data you're going to measure are actually going to be. You're going to get different messages from different people. We're going to tell you one thing, other people are going to tell you something else. You will have to figure that out. It does depend on the market or the niche. Obviously, things like how big is your list? Are you growing your social media presence? Are you getting things done on time? Are you putting in enough time, hours per day on average, and so on? How much money literally is coming in? How many units? How many new customers? You need to pick something that's going to allow you to focus on what matters. And I will tell you this is so true. We talk about this also on the channel, but what you focus on will grow. That includes your business plan. As you focus on your business plan, if you do it right, your business plan will actually grow. Your strategy, your hopes, your dreams will grow. Also, the role of the CEO will grow and grow and grow. What happens when the role of the CEO gets too big? You're going to have to split off that work. But it will also mean that the CEO is making money for you. You're making money for yourself and you're paying yourself first. Now money is coming in and you can allocate those profits as you wish to finally hiring employee number 2. So employee number 2 is what most people call employee number 1. It's the first person besides you who you're going to hire. That's a different topic for a different day. If you're interested in how do I hire employee number 2, post your comments below. We'd love to help you with that. Love to basically create training and a video that walks you through that entire process. Of course, we've done that many, many times. And what is the role of freelancers, right? Freelancers, love it. It's awesome. So that's step number 2. Again, step number 1, hire yourself as a CEO. Step number 2 is your daily routine and your metrics for the CEO. And then step number 3 is tracking those results over time and then adapting and adjusting your strategic plan, your goals, and also even the role itself of the CEO. What is the CEO really doing? What are you really doing with your time? Is it matching up properly with your original vision? Yes or no? It might be. You can revise and adapt. And again, you can use your AI virtual mastermind to help guide you. Obviously, the Rhodes brothers can help you as well and mentor and coach. Again, another topic for another day, but let us know in the comments if you're interested in knowing more about that as well. Okay, so you're monitoring your own progress like a boss. This is how you are both looking out explicitly at the work output because you're watching the CEO. You're like watching yourself work and the outputs, but it's also a way, sort of a recursive loop, because as you, in your role as the CEO and an employee, you can do that work and sort of give yourself back that feedback at the same time. It's a self-reinforcing, powerful money creation, value creation loop. You create, you see, you capture, you adapt, you adjust, you learn, you adjust, you adapt. Metrics, you take a look, you adjust, you adapt, and you do this over and over again. And you've split your mind in a good way, not schizophrenic, right? But you split your mind such that you are in the ownership role and you're in the employee role. The CEO of a company may or may not own the company. If you look at a Fortune 500 company, the CEOs have stock. They don't actually literally own the entire company. They own a fraction of the company through shares that they're granted and options and so forth. but they are only part small owners. You, starting from scratch, are the owner entirely at the beginning of the business. And you're also an employee of not yourself, but the business. The business employs you. The business employs the CEO. And eventually, guess what? Here's the great news. You do not have to be, and you probably should not be, the CEO forever onwards. There will come a time, this is future casting, right? There will come a time where someone else is the CEO if you wish to grow your company to that size and so forth. Lots to talk about there, lots we can go into. And again, if you want to know more about that, please let us know in the comments below. That's what this one is about. You need to work with us. You need to post comments and let us know, because we have the training. We have the ability to help you tremendously. I'm not pitching or shilling. I'm just letting you know that we have a lot of that material available absolutely for free on this channel, which is why you should be commenting, because we are watching very closely. And of course, share this with your friends. It's referrals like yours that really make the channel grow. And another thing is, before we wrap up finally, is that you'll want to set milestones. So not just track the metrics, not just think about the metrics, but you'll actually want to have certain points in time where you review the results, and you can put it on the calendar, not just a to-do list, but actually put it on a calendar. I use a desk calendar, paper and pen, baby, but you can put it into a virtual calendar. There are plenty that are out there. And you can say, okay, I'm going to look at these top 5 KPIs, these top 5 metrics, and you can assess. Obviously, you can adapt and you can adjust as you need to regarding your plan, and you can even adjust and adapt the role of the CEO, which I've already said before, but you need to hear it more than once. Again, you're going after your very, very first dollar, and that's your number one goal, in my opinion. And the key beyond that is, how do I grow it? How do I track it? How do I manage it? And keep it in alignment with my overall goals, and how do I keep that in alignment with what the CEO, employee number one, is doing. So you can continue to grow and scale your business from that point. But this establishes a fundamental baseline in terms of how you can think about the business as an organization and how it's structured. And importantly, it gives you a framework for understanding how your next employees and or freelancers will come into the business. You've got a plan and you have a role. These are well defined, and then the metrics that line up against the plan and line up against the role that you would be hiring for, or that you would be outsourcing. Or maybe you have a virtual assistant. Again, another topic for another day. We have plenty of training that is available for you for that. And so that gives you the exact answer on who is the very first employee you should hire, and importantly, how to think about that very first employee, the CEO, you, and how that person and that role line up, very importantly, to your strategic plan, to your vision, to what it is that you want out of life. Obviously, money, freedom, and everything else that entails. Again, I've mentioned this a couple of times now. Comment, post below. We'd love to see what you have to think. And if this resonates with you, also, very importantly, given the nature of this video and how it's so inspirational and how it can change the thinking of so many people like you, you probably felt the emotional breakthrough from this, because this is radically different than what other people have been telling you and what you're going to read in books. This is practical, it's real, and yet it's also big, and the vision is huge, but it's also so practical and actionable that we believe in you and know that. Well, the exact same thing can help friends, colleagues. It can help other people that you're working with. So please share this video with someone who you think might get value from this. It's very important to us to grow the channel, to help more people, reach more people, create more teachings and trainings, and do some really, really cool advanced stuff behind the scenes that you will be learning about in the very, very near future. That being said, the Rhodes Brothers thank you for your time, and we will see you in the next training. Thank you and take care.